3:47 a.m. Eastern European Standard Time. A radar operator in Poland blinks twice at his screen. The blip shouldn't exist. It's moving too fast, tracking from the northeast at Mach 12. His hand hovers over the alert button. For 3 seconds he hesitates. Those 3 seconds are the last moment of the old world. You're asleep. Your phone charges silently on the netstand. The street outside hums with the low murmur of distant traffic. Maybe you're dreaming about tomorrow's meeting, or replaying an argument, or floating through some shapeless nothing. You don't hear the encrypted signals bouncing between military satellites. You don't see the secure phones lighting up in Washington, Moscow, Beijing. You don't know that in bunkers carved into mountains, men in uniform are already running. The world doesn't end with a bang you can hear. It ends with a whisper in a language you don't speak, transmitted across frequencies you can't access, between people whose names you'll never know. And when you finally wake up, the world you knew will be a memory that feels like fiction. This is what happens in Night WW3 Starts. And it begins while you're dreaming. The first strike, 3:51 a.m. The decision is made, not by a president or a parliament, but by an algorithm monitoring threat assessments and calculating probabilities. In a command center buried 300 feet below the Ural Mountains, a general receives confirmation. He doesn't hesitate. The order travels at light speed through fiber optic cables to submarines gliding silently beneath the Arctic ice. The missiles don't launch yet. That comes later. First, the invisible war begins. At 3:52 a.m., every GPS satellite over Eastern Europe receives a corrupted timestamp. Navigation systems stutter. Commercial aircraft flying overnight routes suddenly show positions 300 miles off course. Pilots frown at their instruments, but say nothing to passengers. Air traffic controllers see the anomalies and assume software glitches. They're already calling IT support when the next wave hits. 3:54 a.m. The cyberattack breaches 47 critical infrastructure nodes simultaneously. Power grid management systems in Germany, Poland, and the Baltic states receive conflicting load balancing commands. Automated safety protocols trigger, then cancel, then trigger again. Engineers stare at cascading error messages, trying to understand what their screens are telling them. The systems aren't broken. They're being rewritten in real time. You shift in your sleep. Maybe you're cold. Maybe you pull the blanket higher. 3:56 a.m. The first kinetic strike occurs 8 miles above the North Sea. A hypersonic glide vehicle, launched 20 minutes earlier from a rail car in Siberia, detonates at the exact altitude to generate an electromagnetic pulse. The flash is invisible to human eyes, but every unshielded electronic device within a 200-mile radius dies instantly. Phones, computers, car ignitions, pacemakers. The pulse doesn't discriminate. In London, hospital monitors flatline for 3 seconds, then reboot. In Copenhagen, traffic lights go dark and don't come back. In Amsterdam, the stock exchange servers shut down mid-transaction and corrupt their own backup drives trying to restart. Nobody understands yet. It looks like a massive power failure. Utilities blame each other. Governments activate emergency protocols designed for natural disasters. The word attack hasn't entered official communications yet. You're still asleep. Your alarm is set for 6:30 a.m. It will never go off. The cascade 4:03 a.m. NATO's Supreme Allied Commander receives a call that will define history. Satellite coverage over Eastern Europe is gone, not clouded, not jammed, gone. 18 military and civilian satellites have stopped transmitting. Ground-based radar shows incoming signatures over Poland. The commander asks the question everyone is thinking: are they nuclear? The answer takes 47 seconds. Non-nuclear. Precision conventional weapons targeting military infrastructure. Air defense installations. Command centers. Communication hubs. The strikes are surgical, calculated to blind and deafen without triggering automatic nuclear retaliation protocols. But the commander knows what comes next. You don't blind an enemy unless you're preparing to strike while they're helpless. At 4:07 a.m., Article 5 of the NATO Charter is invoked. An attack on one is an attack on all. Military bases across Europe and North America go to DEFCON 2. Bomber wings scramble. Missile submarines receive encrypted orders to move to launch positions. Nuclear command aircraft take off from 3 continents. The machinery of total war begins to turn. You roll over. Your dreams are changing. Something feels wrong, but you can't identify it. Your subconscious registers the absence of familiar sounds. The refrigerator isn't humming. The neighbor's late-night TV is silent. But you don't wake up yet. Your body decides it's nothing. Sleep continues. 4:15 a.m. The second wave of strikes begins. Cruise missiles launched from ships in the Baltic Sea hit targets across Poland and Romania. These aren't the bunker busters from the first wave. These are designed to destroy infrastructure. Power substations explode in sequential fireballs. Natural gas pipelines rupture. Railway junctions vanish under precision munitions. In Warsaw, a nurse finishing her night shift sees the flash on the horizon. She thinks it's lightning. Then the building shakes. The lights flicker once, twice, then die completely. Emergency generators kick in, but half of them fail. The hospital's digital record system crashes. Patient monitors switch to battery backup. In the sudden semi-darkness, she hears someone screaming. The attack spreads. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Each strike carefully calibrated to maximize disruption while minimizing civilian casualties. This isn't about body counts. It's about paralysis. About creating chaos so profound that response becomes impossible. At 4:22 a.m., the President of the United States is woken in the White House residence. She has 11 seconds to process the information before being hustled to Marine One. The helicopter lifts off toward an undisclosed location. She's still in her pajamas. The nuclear football handcuffs to her military aide's wrist as they climb altitude. You're dreaming about water. A lake, maybe, or an ocean. Something vast and dark. The awakening, 4:31 a.m. The power grid across Central Europe collapses. Not from the strikes alone, but from the cascade they trigger. When one grid section fails, neighboring sections automatically try to compensate. But the cyberattack has corrupted the load-balancing algorithms. Instead of stabilizing, the grid tears itself apart. Transformers overload and burn. Circuit breakers trip in sequence like dominoes. Within 8 minutes, 140 million people lose electricity. The blackout rolls westward. Netherlands, Belgium, eastern France. The interconnected European grid becomes a liability. Engineers desperately try to isolate their sections, but the malware has already propagated through every networked system. Manual overrides don't work because the control systems don't respond to manual input anymore. At 4:45 a.m., you wake up, not from noise but from silence. The absolute absence of the electrical hum that's been your constant companion since birth. Your room is dark. Not night dark, but the total darkness of no light pollution. No standby LEDs, no street lamps filtering through curtains. Your phone screen is black. You press the power button, nothing. You assume a blown fuse. Maybe a storm knocked out the block. You lie there, annoyed, waiting for it to come back. It doesn't. At 4:52 a.m., someone starts pounding on doors in your building. You hear muffled shouting. Something about getting to the basement. The words don't make sense. You check your phone again. Still dead. You try the light switch. Nothing. You walk to the window and look outside. The street is dark. Every street is dark. No traffic lights, no building lights, no headlights moving. Just dark. And in the distance, toward the city center, an orange glow that pulses against the clouds. Not the orange of street lamps, the orange of something burning. That's when the fear starts. The information void 5:03 a.m. Governments attempt to communicate with their populations and discover their tools are gone. Emergency broadcast systems rely on digital infrastructure. Cell towers need power and working internet backbones. Television stations can't transmit without electricity. Radio stations on generator power reach only those with battery-powered receivers. And most people stopped owning those 20 years ago. The few working emergency channels broadcast the same message on loop. This is an emergency broadcast. Remain in your homes. Await further instructions. Do not use phones. Conserve water. This is not a drill, but 93% of the population never hears it. You find your battery-powered radio buried in the closet. The batteries are weak, corrosion on the terminals. You scrape them clean with a key. The radio crackles to life. Static, more static. Then a voice, mechanical and flat. ... Nationwide emergency. Attack on Allied forces. Shelter in place. ... Do not attempt to travel ... The words don't connect. Attack? What attack? Who's attacking? You scan through frequencies. Some are dead. Some hiss with interference. On one, you hear someone speaking in a language you don't recognize. On another, overlapping voices talking over each other in panic. Nothing makes sense. At 5:17 a.m., you hear your neighbor's door open. You step into the hallway. Mrs. Chen from 4B is standing there in her bathrobe, face pale. She speaks first. Do you know what's happening? You shake your head. She holds up her phone. Everything's dead. I can't reach my daughter. She's in Berlin. Bea, I can't reach anyone. Down the hall, Mr. Kowalski emerges. He's old enough to remember drills. He says one word, war. The word hangs there. It sounds absurd. War is something that happens elsewhere, in history books or on news channels, showing grainy footage of distant countries. War isn't something that makes your lights go out and your phone stop working. But when you look at his face, you realize he believes it. And worse, you're starting to believe it too. The scramble 5:29 a.m. Across Europe and North America, millions of people reach the same conclusion simultaneously. They need supplies, water, food, medicine, cash, batteries, anything that might matter if this lasts longer than a day. The scramble begins. Supermarkets aren't open yet, but that doesn't matter. In Berlin, someone smashes through the front window of a grocery store. Within minutes, 200 people are inside, grabbing whatever they can carry. No one's paying. The registers don't work anyway. It's not quite looting. Not yet. People are still polite, still saying, "Excuse me," as they push past each other. But the politeness is thin, stretched tight over rising panic. In Paris, a man tries to withdraw cash from an ATM and realizes every machine is dead. He drives to another. Dead. Another. Dead. By the sixth machine, he's not alone anymore. A crowd has gathered. People checking cards, pressing buttons, arguing with the blank screens. Someone suggests the bank will open soon. Someone else laughs bitterly. Banks run on computers. Computers need power. You make your decision. You need water. Your apartment has maybe 3 days' worth if you're careful. You need more. You throw on clothes and head for the stairs. The elevator is obviously dead. In the stairwell, you pass families carrying flashlights, heading down to the basement parking garage. One man carries a sleeping child. The child's mother carries bottled water and a first aid kit. Outside, the street is transforming. Cars are parked at strange angles, abandoned when they died mid-drive. People are walking quickly, purposefully, toward shopping districts. No one's running yet, but everyone's moving faster than normal. You join the flow. At 5:47 a.m., you reach the convenience store 3 blocks from your apartment. The security gate is down, but someone has pried it up 2 feet. You crouch and slip under. Inside, the aisles are chaos. Shelves are being stripped. You grab what you can: bottled water, canned food, a manual can opener, batteries. You stuff them in a backpack and look for more. Someone pushes past you roughly. You turn to object and see his face. Wild eyes, sweat despite the cold. He's not seeing you. He's seeing competition. You realize this is only the beginning. This is how it starts. Not with violence, but with the quiet erasure of social contracts. The unspoken rules that hold civilization together are dissolving in real time. You leave quickly, backpack heavy, and head home. On the way, you see a police car, also dead, doors open, abandoned. The officers are gone. Either their radios still work and they were called somewhere, or they went home to their families. You don't know which is worse. The military response, 6:15 a.m. NATO forces launch their counterattack. It's not nuclear. Not yet. But it's overwhelming. Stealth bombers drop precision munitions on Russian command and control facilities. Submarines fire conventional cruise missiles at naval bases. Cyber warfare units retaliate against the malware, attempting to regain control of infrastructure while simultaneously targeting enemy systems. But the attacks are careful, measured. Every target is military. Every strike is designed to degrade capability without triggering nuclear escalation. Both sides are dancing on the edge of the abyss, trying to win without falling in. In the Situation Room, relocated to a bunker beneath the Appalachian Mountains, the president watches satellite footage. She sees explosions bloom across Kaliningrad, Crimea, and the Black Sea Fleet. Her military advisors are arguing about next steps. Her intelligence director is explaining that China is mobilizing but hasn't committed. Her chief of staff is trying to arrange a hotline call with Moscow. Everyone is shouting professionally. She makes a decision. Launch the emergency broadcast from every surviving system. Tell the population what's happening. The advisor's object. Information could cause panic. She overrides them. Panic is already happening. Ignorance is worse. At 6:31 a.m., the message goes out on every working channel. This is the President of the United States. At 3:51 Coordinated Universal Time, NATO forces came under attack in Eastern Europe. This attack has been attributed to Russian military forces. We are responding with appropriate and proportional measures. This is not, I repeat, not a nuclear exchange. Remain in your homes. Conserve resources. Emergency services are operating under contingency protocols. We will prevail. May God bless America and our allies. The message loops, but most people never hear it. The infrastructure to deliver it doesn't exist anymore. The long morning 7:03 a.m. Dawn rises over a broken world, dark cities, stalled highways, people huddled around fading radios, trying to grasp how everything collapsed overnight. You sit in your barricaded apartment. Supplies cover the table. A dozen water bottles, a few cans, a weak flashlight, a radio with hours left. Every container is full. The bathtub might keep you alive 2 weeks if rationed carefully. Your thoughts spiral. No answers, no contact. The isolation cuts deeper than fear. At 7:22, military helicopters thunder overhead, low and heavy. Neighbors appear on balconies, searching faces for certainty. At 8:11, a knock. Marcus from 3FA, basement meeting. You hesitate, then agree. Being alone is dangerous too. The new reality. The basement meeting is tense and uncomfortable. 23 residents sit in a rough circle around lanterns and candles. Marcus, a former Army medic, has taken charge without asking. He speaks calmly, which somehow makes his words heavier. The power isn't coming back soon. Water stopped an hour ago. Pumping stations are down. No water means no sewage. In 2 days, sanitation becomes the real threat. Someone insists the government will fix it. Marcus shakes his head. They're fighting a war. We're on our own for now. We need to share supplies, set watches, and secure the building. That's when it becomes real. This isn't inconvenience. It's survival. Radiation is mentioned. Marcus reassures everyone conventional weapons so far, but urges caution. Stay inside. Just in case. Decisions follow quickly. 1 liter of water per person per day. All food pooled. 2 people on watch at all times. Limited medical supplies, a pharmacy nearby, but no volunteers yet. You realize this is how civilization rebuilds. Scared people in a basement, making rules to stay alive. The first day by noon, panic hardens into resolve. The streets are quiet. Most people are barricaded or empty-handed. On watch with David, you stare out at an almost empty street. Distant, hand-cranked sirens wail old, uncertain sounds. David mentions a business trip he was supposed to take tomorrow. You don't laugh, but you want to. That world is gone. At 2:17 p.m., gunshots echo 6 blocks away. 3 shots. Silence. You say nothing. Violence was always coming. You're just relieved it isn't here yet. The information trickle by late afternoon. Information begins to move again, not through official channels, but through ham radios, shortwave signals, and dusty CB units pulled from garages. A fragile network forms, fragmented, unreliable, but alive. You sit in the basement with others as a voice crackles through the static, relaying news past city to city. NATO counterstrikes confirmed. Heavy Russian losses. No nuclear weapons yet. China holding defensive posture. The UN attempting an emergency session. Communications limited. It's third hand, maybe worse. Impossible to verify. Still, it matters. The world hasn't vanished beyond your walls. Not yet. Someone asks the question no one can answer. How long? Silence. The night falls again, darkness returns, deeper than before. Without power, the stars burn sharply overhead, beautiful, unsettling. From balconies come whispers, sobs, prayers. Below, the city is nearly black. Distant fires glow. Generator lights blink weakly, doomed to fade. You lie down fully dressed, shoes on, supplies at your side. The door is barricaded. You've done all you can. Sleep comes late, uneasy, filled with questions. When it finally takes you, you don't know this is the first night of a war that will divide history into before and after. You only know one truth. Civilization went dark, and nothing will be normal again.